How's it going, everybody? I hope you're having a good day. I was going to go outside and do some yard work today with 105 heat index. I decided against that pretty damn quick. My age, anything I need to prove has either been proven or proven ridiculous, so I'm going to stay inside and take care of some things. I got some garlic I need to peel. I got a knife I need to sharpen. It's going to be a pretty laid-back kind of day. I started thinking today, though, about a conversation I had with a friend of mine a couple of days ago about redemption, about faith. And whenever he and I fall into conversation, we find ourselves talking a lot about Jesus, which is something that doesn't really surprise me given my Catholic upbringing. But it's something that I tend to talk about only with a few people. Not for any reason, but that's just the way it goes. And we were talking about when Jesus was hanging on the cross and how he had this apparent state of abandonment when he said, "Why have you forsaken me?" And this friend of mine said, well, he had to. Kind of sat with that for a little bit. Deep down, something about that rang really true. It's the idea that if we're not in the midst of conflict, we never really find the true depths of our faith. And I think our gifts are a lot like that too. I remember almost 30 years ago when I moved to New Jersey, I was really in a bad way. I was drinking almost every night. I was spending all my money at the bars and hanging out with some friends of mine whom I loved dearly, but man, we were pretty much on a one-way ride. In fact, some people I know didn't make it out alive. And I didn't know where I was headed at the time, but I knew one thing: I had to get the fuck out or it was going to kill me. And so I left. And I came to Jersey, and I went through some really, really hard and dark times. I almost lost everything. I almost lost my mind, came damn close. I definitely almost lost my way. But I know for a fact that if I stayed in Scranton, I undoubtedly would have lost my life. Not that I was living dangerously, but to be blunt, I just didn't really give a fuck anymore. But something reached down inside the hole and lowered me a rope. And I got a hold of it, and it pulled me out. And the thing that surprises me more than anything is that no matter how hard it got, those first few years, I never moved back. The separation didn't come fast and it didn't come easy. I went back pretty much almost every weekend and tried to put myself back into that life for a while. There were still parts of me that were deeply connected. But eventually, I found my roots here. And in the process, I lost pretty much every connection I have with that area, except the ones that are still deep in my heart, the ones that I don't need to be in the physical presence of to feel. But what I've gained on the other side of all that, not that my healing's done, but I have found a true gift. I've found the ability to be able to sit with others without judgment. I found some scars. I found some strength. And these gifts could only have come from being in the midst of some really dark times. Because I knew that the experience that I needed would either have to cure me or kill me. I had to feel really, really low. I had to feel forsaken. Truth is, I wasn't. But I had to get to the point where I was so low that I had nothing else to do but surrender to the one thing that never turned its back on me. And so here I am, more aware of my connection to the divine than I've ever been in my entire life. I feel it pour through me almost every day. Actually, every day. I just came through a hard time these last few weeks of grieving. I didn't know when it was going to end. I didn't know when it was going to shift, but I never lost faith that it would. And even though my wings are still wet as far as this last experience goes, I know that the wisdom I've gained from it will allow me to be of deeper service to others and will help prepare me for when the next time comes. These gifts that we have, these gifts that we've been carrying with us since we were born, they need hard times to crack them open sometimes. They run on a deep amount of faith. And that's the kind of faith that can only be found when we're pushed to the brink. And we feel like there's nowhere else to go, like we've lost everything. But afterwards, when we come out of it, we find that the only thing that we've really lost is everything that stands between us and moving forward. Till next time.